Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is, YouTube. Matt M. Roy back once again. This is just getting ridiculous, folks. I'm telling you. Something came across to me early this morning, and this was very shocking. I actually didn't even know that this was a thing, to be honest with you. Well, that's not totally true. I've heard about it, but I didn't know anything in depth about it until I started doing some research. So apparently, during this crisis, our first responders, i.e., the paramedics, the firemen, the police department, the people at the hospitals, they use what's called 3M. Make sure I get this right. 8210 or N95 mask / respirators. That you've probably seen them on some of these people. It says 3M. Not only is it a mask that covers your nose and your mouth, but it also has a 3M filter in there that filters out the bacteria, the virus germs, basically. So why am I making this video? Well, a client of mine, I was talking to her this morning, and she was trying to find things to do to help out around the area, pretty much, do her best to do her part in aiding in this crisis. Well, she asked me if I would help her get some masks, and I was interested. I'm like, I've heard that they're sold out everywhere. Like, you cannot buy a 3M 8210 N95 mask to save your life. I mean, there just aren't. Everybody that has them now, it's in the hands of first responders. Hopefully, some people probably did hoard them early on, but I thought it was odd. She was giving me a website. I'm going to give you guys a little bit better angle here. Hang on one second. She was giving me some information to a website that advertised that they had these masks. I mean, it actually says 3M 8210CN, and but the website looked real shady. Like, you could already tell something was off. Number one, it was a foreign website. It definitely had way too many characters in the URL to be a domestic US based, or maybe even a UK based, because it didn't have that .uk on it or .co. So I told her right off the bat, I said, this can't be right. That something doesn't smell right. Something doesn't feel right about this. So I started doing some research, and come to find out, there are a lot of these fake 3M masks out there right now. And this is just really sad, because these masks are nowhere near as good as the originals. Now, that being said, do they work at all? Most people say anything is better. I mean, heck, at this point, they're telling people to make bandanas that have to come in contact with people that are infected and use them. I mean, literally take things like a microfiber towel and put it around their mouth and just tie it up. They say anything's better than nothing. So I guess in a way, these are probably better than nothing. But it's sad that we have to deal with this. And if they're going to sell these, they need to sell them as what they are, just respirator masks. But what they're doing, because again, I'm going to go say that word, China. They come from China. And these masks have the 3M logo on there. But if you look really close, you can also see some Chinese writing on there. Now, a genuine 3M respirator mask is not going to have Chinese writing on it, unless maybe it was made for the Chinese market. That being said, I find it very sad that it's come to the point where they are asking the same amount, or very close to the same amount, for these cheap knockoffs than they do the originals. Now, if you see a really good deal on these respirator masks, then chances are it's fake. I mean, these things sell for upwards of $50 to $60 a pop. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But I'm gonna share this real quick. This is an eBay listing for one such mask. Now, this isn't the exact site that the lady gave me, but this is basically the same mask that they were selling on that site. And they have it listed as a 2-piece 3M 8210CN bacteria mascara facial respirator antiviral mask, MASQUE. Interesting spelling there. And some Chinese, actually a picture of a Chinese lady wearing the mask, and also a picture of the mask itself with Chinese writing on it. So pretty obvious with this one, this is not a real 3M mask. Now, let me go put another one up here. You really just have to do a quick eBay search, and I'll go ahead and share the search that I did. I mean, I just literally searched 3M N95 mask, and this is what I came up with. And once again, at this point, with the situation as it is with the virus, you are not going to be getting a real 3M respirator mask. It's just not going to happen. They're just not out there. And the ones that they're making, they're not selling to the general public. They're going right to our first responders. That being said, that's all I want to say on that topic. I mean, that's just something that I was like, okay, this is an issue I was not even aware of. So I need to go ahead and make all you guys and gals out there aware of it. That being said, I am taking some better precautions now with the spread of this getting even worse. As a matter of fact, in my area, our immediate city is the only one that has not seen a case yet. All the surrounding cities in the Hampton Roads area, they have at least one case. I know of 2 new ones in Hampton. I think there's a whole bunch, like 12 or 13 in Virginia Beach. But luckily in my immediate town, there have not been any confirmed cases. That being said, you know, people aren't necessarily getting tested, so we really don't know. But what I'm doing now, and a very, very old friend of mine, I think of her as a surrogate mother. She had a really good idea. What I'm going to be doing now, when I have someone come over to look at a computer, I'm actually going to be setting it up outside. I'm either going to set it up on the front porch, or I'm going to set it up on the back patio. And the reason I'm going to do this, it's not for me. You know, I'm young and healthy for the most part. My risk, even if I catch it, is minimal. But my parents are another story, and I've actually said this before. You know, my father has got some health issues. My mother, not so much, but they're all in that 70 category, that 70-year-old plus category. And that in and of itself puts them at higher risk. So if you have people coming over, if you run a business, or let's say you do like hairdressing, I would probably just shut down altogether. Matter of fact, most of the barbershops and the hairdressers have shut down. But if you do something where you have to have people come over, be smart about it, especially if you have people in that high risk category. Make sure that you limit the exposure as much as possible. Don't shake hands anymore. Fist bump. That's what we've been doing. If somebody wants to shake hands, I say, nope, we're going to do a fist bump, which is kind of go like that to the other person. And I'm not sure who came up with that. I don't know if it was President Trump or someone in his administration, but it's a good idea, because you don't need to be shaking hands at this point. And of course, use hand sanitizer. You can use disinfecting wipes. A lot of people forget that. I carry disinfecting wipes with me wherever I go. If I'm in the store, I'll get some there, but I'll keep them in my pocket. I have like a little baggie, a little plastic baggie, and you know, I just use it all the time to stay safe. Austin Computer says, my city has a bunch of cases. My mom thinks she has gotten the virus since she runs a dental clinic and is the dentist there. You know, I don't want to be an alarmist, and I've had a lot of people that I know, family members included, say that they think they have the COVID-19, the novel coronavirus. Don't say that unless you are absolutely sure, because number one, you're going to freak people out and they're not going to want to come near you. Number two, it could very well just be seasonal allergies, or even a regular cold or a flu. You need to make sure that if you have that you do get tested. But just be really careful. Follow the guidelines. I'm not exactly sure what they're saying today. I know as of a couple of days ago, they had enough testing kits for people that were showing symptoms. So if you're somebody who's showing symptoms, then you should be able to go and get tested. But if you're not showing any symptoms, you just want to get tested just to see if you have it or not, as of right now, you're not going to be allowed to do that. And I get it. I mean, that's important. We need to save those testing kits for the people that really need it. Yeah, and that's, we got to stay positive, folks. I mean, that's the only way you can get through this. I'm watching a lot of TV, still getting my exercises in, by the way. Exercise, very, very important. Whenever you're going to have to potentially fight off any type of viral bacteria, any type of illness, exercise will boost your immune system. I don't care who you are. Even if you have limited mobility, there are exercises you can do. And I'm telling you, it makes you feel good, and it'll reduce your risk of, number one, contracting it. Number two, even if you do contract it, you'll be able to fight it off more quickly, and hopefully without needing medical assistance, or at least major medical assistance. And that's a fact, by the way. And I should have said this in the beginning of the live stream, because you guys have called me out on it, and rightfully so. I am not a medical doctor. I'm just sharing what I have learned myself over the last few years. You know, even going through my weight loss journey, I've learned how to stay healthy, because now that I'm thinner, and that I feel like I have to get my exercises in and my workouts in every day, I want to stay healthy. If I get sick with anything and I have to lay in that bed, it's going to drive me crazy. So for the last 2 or 3 years, I'm doing all kinds of research, figuring out what I should be eating to stay healthy, what I should be avoiding to stay healthy, you know, what I need to do, supplements I need to take. And that's going to be in a future video, probably a live stream, maybe a little bit of both. But think of it this way. If you've ever seen those people at the gym, those people that are really into health and fitness, you ever notice that they're never sick, or rarely ever sick? There's a reason for that. It's because exercise and diet are the two things that will keep you healthy. And even more than exercise is dieting. And I will tell you that one of the best things you can do for yourself now, and this is awesome because honestly, it's really easy to do: juice. I purchased a juicer at Lidl this past week for $40. Yeah, not the highest end juicer, but it gets the job done. And I have started juicing to help boost the immune system. Now, the reason it boosts your immune system is, number one, I juice with superfruit. So we're talking about the different types of berries, blueberries, raspberries. This time I used apples, kale, and mango. So the only thing there that technically isn't a superfood is an apple. But when you ingest that, it's like a body cleanse. You've heard of those people touting the juice cleanses. Well, in a sense, that's what you're doing. You're cleansing your body of all those impurities. So if you're worried right now, juice. Buy yourself a juicer. A lot of people probably already have juicers at home. NutriBullets, those will work too, although you won't be able to separate the pulp from the juice. So you'll have to kind of make it more into like a smoothie. But great way to stay healthy. Vitamin C boost. From what I've read, the vitamin C aspect doesn't play into this particular strand as much as it does with like the common cold and the rhinovirus, but it still helps. And then again, just juice. Do you think the economy will go bad for a while due to recent events that are happening? Yes, absolutely. And here's why. The government is talking about the stimulus bill, and that looks like that's going to be passed. The latest idea is there's going to be stimulus for things like the airline industry, the hospitality industry, hotels, and things like that. But above that, Americans now, anybody that's over the age of 18, working age, whether you're working or not, is going to be getting $1,200. Now, that hasn't passed yet, but it's very close. You're probably saying to yourself, oh, Matt, that's great. I mean, I could use $1,200. Heck, I can use $1,200. I'm sure we all can. Here's the problem, though. They're going to give out all that money. That money's got to come from somewhere. That money is coming from the taxpayers, basically the higher ups that are paying taxes. You know, they pay more than the lower ones, rightfully so. So that money's coming from somewhere, and we're in such a deficit. I mean, we're what, 12, 13 trillion dollars in debt as a nation. It might even be higher than that now. What's going to happen is that's going to be tacked on to the debt. And it's going to make the recovery that much slower. Because when you print more money, as the government's doing, and you add more debt to your society, you cannot recover as quickly. I mean, it's the same principle as personal debt. If say the American say America was a person, and we have I'm America. So we have I have $12 trillion in debt. You think banks are going to loan money to me? You think other countries are going to want to invest in me? I don't think so, folks. And that's what happens. So it is going to, unfortunately, in the long term, hurt us. And this could be 3, 4, 5 years. I don't want to speculate because I'm not an economics expert, but I do know enough that the stimulus packages that they put out in the past generally do more damage than they do good. 24 trillion. I can't keep up with it, folks. I mean, we spend money like it's going out of style. And the sad fact is China owns more of us now than we own of ourselves. True story. Look it up. I mean, it's absolutely true. And that's the country that just so happens to have given us this novel coronavirus. See, it's a whole thing. It's a whole whirlwind of problems. And I think it all started with the me generation, which is kind of like the baby boomers, what do they call it? The hippie generation. Not trying to get anybody from that generation mad at me, but it is kind of true because before that, as a society, we knew how to save our money. We knew how to live on, our means, live within our means, and basically live on our needs, not our wants. Well, nowadays it's total opposite. I want a brand new sports car. I don't have the money for it. Great, I can finance it. The deal will give me a low interest 9.9% loan for 8 years. I'll do that. You can't afford the car, but you can do it. I want that 4-bedroom. 8,000 or 4-bedroom, say 4-bedroom, 3,000 square foot house, and I make $30,000 a year. Well, great, they'll give me a mortgage for it. See, that's the problem. We're not, as a society, we are not living in our means anymore, and that's something that has to change. If it doesn't change, I don't want to be around in 20, 30 years if that's the case, because what's going to wind up happening is we're going to start being owned fully by other countries if other things haven't happened at that point. I'm hoping that I'm up there at that point. Hopefully he comes back down and gets us. All those computers go, people are living mouth to mouth nowadays. Absolutely. And for the reasons I just mentioned a few seconds ago, people just don't live within. I mean, if you lived within your means and you lived on a budget, you figured out what your expenses were for the entire month, and lived within a reasonable budget. Like I think Dave Ramsey says, you want to try to save about 40% of your take-home pay. I think that's a little. I think that's a little too extreme. I think if you could save 20% of your either weekly or bi-weekly take-home pay, you're doing pretty good. But as a society, most of us spend our entire paycheck within the first few days. I mean, I know I used to do that. When I worked at Sonic, I was making minimum wage going to school. It would be nothing for me to take that paycheck, and within the next day or two, I would have nothing left. And I was young and stupid. I was buying electronics and stuff like that I really didn't need. Very sad. All right, everybody, that's it for this live stream. Maybe we'll do one later. I'll just have to see how I feel. Please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.